Hello and welcome. What country do you think can bomb seven others and nobody says boo about it? I think that would be Israel. And why is that? Well, today me and my friend Sophie and Mikey are going to discuss how this country has basically got everyone else to be okay with live streaming a genocide. So, Mikey, on that introduction, we're going to talk about how Israel's gotten away with it, what Hasbara is, and I would like the audience to know how you found this to become so personal to you, why you've decided to speak out about the atrocity that Israel is committing against Palestine.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, thanks for having me. It really started when, on October 7th, when the Hamas went into Israel. It was shocking to me, and I think it was shocking to everybody that something like that could happen when, the IDF claims that they, have the most amazing intelligence and everything of that nature. And so I started following what was going on, looking into, how something like that could happen. And then my daughter's school had a cultural art fair, and one of the posters there was for Palestine. And I went over and introduced myself. I'm like, hey, I'm stoked that you're representing over here. This is great. And then I went back to the booth with my daughter. And I saw the principal going over and talking with that family who was representing Palestine. And I could just look at the face of the dad, and he just looked incredibly, sad. And I kind of went up and started eavesdropping because I'm a very nosy guy. And I wanted to, and then I said, oh, you're not kicking him out, are you? And she's like, no, no, no. And then he's like, we're getting threats. We're getting death threats, and that people are going to be coming here to protest. And I'm like, that's crazy. And they started packing their stuff up. They had like all this amazing bread that was made, and they were handing it out to people. And I said, hey, leave everything here. I will stand here the entire time and make sure that your poster and all the hard work that you guys did could be represented. And they end up leaving because he wanted to protect his son and make sure nothing would happen. And so I stood there the whole time, and there were a couple, Zionists that came up. And by that time, it was about a year into the conflict. I already knew my stuff. I think at that time, there was already over like 30,000 Palestinians that were killed. And so, yeah, that was really what kind of opened up my eyes. I am becoming friends with the family. To this day, we still hang out and whatnot, and just the most amazing people. And so I'm really interested to see what goes on with this year's cultural art fair. But I'm just wanted to make sure that they could be represented. I couldn't get the name of that bread down. I kept on, messing up the name of it, but it was delicious. And from then on, I said, you know what, we need to speak out, because most of the people out in America, our media coverage of this is horrible. You could tell that they are very scared to speak out of what's going on. In the past, few months, it's gotten a little bit better. I mean, I think what really kicked it off was that the international organizations were saying that a famine is happening, and it's a man-made famine. And I think at that point, you can't really say that Israel's defending themselves when they're starving innocent civilians. Among many other things, the war crimes, like you were saying, are being broadcasted in 4K. And so that was really what kicked me off to wanting to speak out. And so I'm just happy to be here just to add to the talk.
Yeah, and you make other content as well, like kind of atheist stuff, don't you?
Yeah, so I started. My first video was in the early April, and really speaking out mostly against the Trump administration, but also recently I started making videos of one of my friends. He's an actor, and he used to do commercials, but now all of a sudden I've seen only like celebrities are doing commercials, and so I'm finding content where Capital One credit card, they make their money off of, screwing over Americans, making them go in debt, charging late fees and, interest charges. And I'm seeing like Taylor Swift and Jennifer Garner and Samuel L. Jackson making these commercials. I'm like, you're profiting off of people. So really looking at political content, and definitely when like when Trump was trying to I think it was Tennessee was trying to put Bibles in schools, really making sure the separation of church and state. And anytime I started going after a lot of Christians, and then my buddy said, like, because he found that I was going after Christians that were also against MAGA. And he's like, whoa, we're all proletariats here. Like, we should really, like, if they're going after Trump as well, we should team up with them. And so that really I had to take a step back. And I'm like, that's really interesting. But I do think that when people utilize faith as an excuse to believe something, that's problematic. And the lack of critical thinking skills that are going on in America right now is really, really kind of screwing over our society. So anytime that I could say, like, let's use logic and reason and not faith as a reason to do something, let's look at that.
I think that challenging faith, it should be widely accepted. Using critical thinking to decipher whether or not is your faith valid. And people are so afraid. Yeah, I think their faith is so weak that they're so afraid to be challenged, to really, I guess, dive into those questions. Because I know that for me, that was a really big fear. I would have questions, but I wasn't allowed to freely go into, discovery, exploration, reading other people's opinions other than this one locus of information from, one propaganda place, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. And I think that Israel has realized that with propaganda, they can change people's minds, and they have. Witnessing in 4K the atrocities, the war crimes you mentioned, and to still have people not bat an eye is very tragic. Number one, a mark on our society, but that the loss of lives that, obviously we'll never get back, but entire families just wiped off the map. And knowing that some Christians are okay with it drives me bananas.
Yeah, I mean, when you see
challenge your faith, you need to question what is happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, when you see people like Mike Huckabee and and Speaker Johnson out there, and their whole thing is because of their faith, they think that Israel has a right to do this. This is going to bring the end times for them. I mean, they put that red heifer out there. I mean, just a little bit of critical thinking skills could let you know that that's freaking crazy what they're doing. And so again, yeah, and the society has been so propagandized that you can't question somebody's faith. You can't question when they're doing that. But when it results in, being okay with a genocide, I think that's where we got to, raise our voice and, raise our fist and say, like, no, we're not while I'm still here.
Exactly. Well, Paul, if you have time and you can keep an open mind, we're going to discuss Hasbara. I'm not sure if you've heard of that before, but it's basically what Israel calls their propaganda machine, their spin, if you will. And a survey recently came out, and when I first saw it, I was like, I need people to talk to about this. Like, who else is passionate about this and wants to discuss what's happening here? And I was like, I've seen Mikey go live and talk about it a few times. So let me just hit him up and see if he wants to have a little convo. So this survey was leaked that Israel paid for, let's say Netanyahu's regime paid for. The company is called Stagwell. And what they did is had 3 different phases: qualitative, quantitative messaging, and animatic testing. So they did these studies, they did these like peer review groups, and they would show them different messaging to see, where their opinion lied, and then decided what messaging worked better for Israel, so they can then take that information and continue that spin. Basically the long and short of it. So maybe should I just read that, so in case people are listening and not watching, so they can hear?
Yeah, that would probably be helpful.
Yeah, I have to remember that not everybody is watching, they're just listening. Okay. So phase one, the qualitative, there was 15 focus groups, 6 groups in US, 3 groups in each of UK, DE, and FR. So they did like general population opinion, elites, Gen Z, exploration of issues and context for phases 2 and 3. Like, the fact that this has phases, right? Something weird about that. What country has to do surveys to see where public opinion is? You know what I'm saying? So phase 2, quantitative message testing. So over 8,000 total interviews, over 3,000 interviews in the US, 1,200 in UK, Germany, France, and Spain. And the starting point is where are people now, message resonance and prioritization. And then the third test, how do we swing people's opinion? Animatic testing, over 5,000 interviews, 4,000 in the US, 1,600 UK and Europe, testing the specific of messages, tone, and delivery. So there we have it. Where's that window at? Hello. There we go. Okay, so Stagwell. The person who owns Stagwell is from the US. And also, when you think about somewhere I have the price that they paid for this, and I'm sorry, I don't remember offhand. But that money basically is our tax dollar that went to Israel to now go back to some private firm to do a study about how to sell genocide. Like that hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to know that I'm paying for this. Cuckoo bananas. Okay, so the key findings. Do you want to read that first one? Read the first bullet point.
Yeah, international attitudes towards Israel and the conflict are consistently worse in Europe than in the United States, particularly in the UK, France, and especially in Spain.
So that makes you wonder, why is it they're a bit more skeptical than people in the US are? I think that's probably because the propaganda machine in our country, our news stations are just not free, independent news stations any longer. I mean, I can't talk about theirs. I don't know, but I know ours aren't.
Yeah, and if you also look at AIPAC and all of their contributions, I know on X, AIPAC Tracker is a really cool person to follow because they expose on the left and the right all of those folks they'll basically take something that the leader said, the congressional person said, and hey, what up, Dan? Yeah, and so what they do is they'll take one of their comments where they're basically, saying like praising Israel for something, and then they'll show how much AIPAC donated to them. So that really is exposing a lot of, especially like Akeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and everybody on the right.
Right. On the left, I'm just so shocked at how many people on the left are so silent. I thought that we were the party of, no war, protecting kids. And again, that's one of the things that just kind of hurts my feelings. My feelings are hurt that the party that I aligned with isn't exactly what I thought it was cracked up to be. Or I should say that our leaders aren't leading us in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's like only 8% of people in Congress have spoken out against what Israel's doing, which is bonkers.
It is, because I think people were so quick to stand up and denounce Russia.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Israel, our ally, even though they are selling us a whole bunch of malarkey, hullabaloo, bubkiss, if you will. Okay, so the next bullet point. Most Europeans support Palestinians, except in Germany, over Israel, but they do recoil against both Hamas and Iran. Now, what I do find curious, well, not curious, I understand it's intentional, but why within this survey that they are so focused on, Arab countries instead of focusing on, what they could do to just be better people. They focus on like who who's hated more? Who can I use as a pawn so I can pretend that I'm the victim, demonize them, and then I can pretty much do whatever I want with them. So that's why I'm a bit frustrated with their use of other Arab countries, which you guys will see as we go through this, study. I'm kind of jumping ahead. Sorry. What's your comment on this bullet point? Sorry.
Yeah, there's like a couple things that I always see is that Palestinians and Hamas are lumped together as,
Thank you.
one group, which is really frustrating because when you actually look, 2006 is when the Hamas was elected. About 47% of the population voted for them, so not even a majority. And then if you look at how long ago that was, and the birth rate out there, that most of, I think even like half of the population wasn't even born when
Too
Hamas
young.
was elected.
Yeah.
And so then when you actually do the math, it's like a very small percentage of the people that are still there likely actually voted for Hamas. But then on the flip end, when you see the world turn its back on Palestine and the only people that are actually standing up for their rights is Hamas and the Houthis, and it's like, well, if you want to change their opinion, you might want to maybe give them some support, give them some actual human rights. And so that's what's really frustrating as well. And then they also say, like, well, if the Arab countries support Palestinians, why don't they open up their borders to, let them in? Well, one is like, why should the Palestinians have to leave? Like, there's no reason that they should have to leave. And then two, they actually are taking refugees already, and that doesn't get reported.
Right.
So
Yeah,
again,
there's
it's
a wide, what people do not know, there is a vast diaspora of Palestinians, many places, because this isn't the first time that this has happened.
Not their first rodeo.
Right. No, it's not their first rodeo. And your point about Palestinians always being compared to Hamas, like it's just like this synonymous thing. And even still, like I don't recoil at Hamas. I just don't. I'm just going to be very honest with you. Um, if you made me an orphan, like I don't know. I can't say because that's not me, but I have a hard time judging somebody who you've orphaned.
Yeah, we saw with the war with George W. Bush, he basically kind of set the grounds for ISIS to come up and to come power. So we've seen this before in history.
Yeah, right. Like, of course, I don't like violence. I'm not ever going to condone violence. I'm just saying, like, let's not put people in positions where they feel like that's their only out. And again, the synonymous with Palestinians and Hamas, that's also so intentional, as you mentioned, because once you've demonized, okay, so that word is now synonymous with the T word, with terror. You can say, oh, well, that building was housing Hamas. Okay, sure, it was doctors and lawyers or whatever, or, just normal everyday people. As long as you say that, they were Hamas, well, it doesn't matter because they're T words. So they absolutely should die. And that is how they've gotten away with all of it, with all this killing. You just say, oh, well, that journalist, over 200, almost 300 journalists at this point
Most in any other conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, ever, like making world records here, which is freaking messed up. And all because they said those journalists were Hamas. And I've seen so many news stations repeat those very words. And it's taken the lives of innocent people just because they say that word.
And then they won't let international journalists in too. So it's like, oh, I wonder why. Actually, Piers Morgan's one of the big guys that is fighting against that, which is crazy because he was defending Israel all the way up until about a couple months ago. Again, I think it was right around the time that the forced famine happened. But yeah, I mean, why won't you let international journalists in? And they say, oh, it's for their protections. Like war correspondents, that's what they do, but it's likely just to cover up, mass graves and whatever else they're doing.
Right. I freaking hate Pierce. Like I freaking hate him. But at least he's saying, let journalists in.
Yeah.
At least he is saying that. I mean, I hate the fact that I have to put someone on a pedestal that's a jerk off,
Bare
but
minimum, right?
yeah, it's doing the bare minimum, especially, he's one of those like Hamas Palestinian people who's also
Mhm.
spouted the propaganda of the beheaded babies stuff.
Mhm.
There's so
And
many of
ovens,
these
all that, yeah.
journalists now that are, and now they're like spinning on their heels.
Mhm.
When meanwhile, if you had just listened to us when we were telling you from
Mhm.
Jump Street, we
Yeah.
wouldn't be here. We wouldn't even have to say the G word,
Like months
you
after,
know?
yeah, Mehdi Hassan was on there just like telling them like, look at what's gonna be happening, and pretty much predicted everything that was coming to
Yeah,
fruition now.
if you believed me when I first told you that this was what Israel intended to do, if any of these people had done a lick of research, because that's what I had to go do because I didn't know what the F was going on.
Mhm, yeah, same.
I just went and researched, and when I found the first map of Greater Israel, I was like, oh,
Mhm,
like
yeah,
this has been planned like since the freaking 40s, y'all. Like, I
yeah,
mean, what are we doing here? Why are we even questioning what's going on? This has
yeah,
been the plan. We have it in ink. Like it's marked down in history. They've said it from their very mouths. This was the intention from the get-go. So
yep.
we're just frustrated that it's taking you now to catch up. I'm
Mhm,
frustrated with myself that it's taken me till like this happened, till I even knew what was happening to, my people too, to Lebanon, right? I mean, Palestinians are my cousins.
mhm,
So
mhm,
um I'm very disappointed in myself, but I realize now that that's all because you're not going to find this kind of information on your local networks. You're going to have to dig for it. You're going to have to do the work. And people like Pierce aren't going to do that. They
mhm.
just want to run with the headlines that's going to get them clicks and likes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes lives like this or videos like this, they're just not like, who wants to sit here and read through a bunch of information?
Right,
Well,
right.
I mean, I do. I like that kind of stuff, but, it's not like Pierce Morgan kind of like blow by blow kind of thing.
Right.
So it just doesn't get the hype.
Mhm.
Anyway, next bullet, unless there was anything we missed there that you had to say.
No, no, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You read the next one.
Yeah, so 18 to 24-year-olds are uniformly the worst performing group, though attitudes in Spain are across the board negative to Israel.
Spain is really coming through. Have
Yeah.
you seen like what their is it president or prime minister? What is
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it might be prime minister. Not 100% sure, but I think he just like did a embargo on Israel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I think we need more world leaders like that actually have a spine and stand up for human rights. But so many just
exactly.
seem to cower in the face of Israel has the right to defend themselves when they're not defending themselves. They're on the
Mm-mm.
offensive. They're trying to make the greater Israel. That's been Netanyahu's main goal since back in like the early 90s. I think he was.
Yeah. Him
Yeah.
and Biden. Little
Yeah.
butt buddies, but I mean,
Yeah.
this is all Biden too.
Oh yeah.
He was lobbying for Israel since he became a politician.
Hmm.
He's been in their back pocket. So he helped create this brick by brick, and
Hmm.
obviously had the ability, had the means to stop what is happening.
One phone call.
Um,
That's all it would have
one
taken.
I mean, what president was it?
It was Reagan.
Reagan, one
Yeah.
phone call, and
Big
like,
liquor.
yeah, and now these presidents just seem like their balls are chopped off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
it's
they
crazy.
talk such a big, and I'm this and I'm that, and you won't even stand up
Mhm.
to a genocidal maniac. Well, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, because they're gonna benefit off of it, but I just
Right.
find that funny that people even think these are strong leaders when they're just
Mhm.
cowards.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is nice to see that young people are, more skeptical about this, and they haven't probably
Yeah.
had the decades of propaganda. Um, and yeah, so.
Welcome. Yeah, read books, people. Wave of
Mhm.
Mutilation says, "Please read books." And I'm not saying I'm the smartest, trust me, sometimes it scares me how stupid I am.
I go through like a serious book, and then I'll go through like a fun book.
Gotta
Yeah.
decompress from that, you know what I'm saying? Decompress. Oh my god, depress. Yeah, you are depressed, so you need to decompress.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, oh my gosh, like, I have to say that if it were not for my children, if it were not for the youth, I probably would still be stuck in some middle nowhere land of the left, with just no real opinion. You're not really doing anything. Just long as
Mhm.
we're nice to each other, just be nice. And that's all I cared about. Um, so because my kids are the ones who kind of woke me up out of my fog. And I'm ever so grateful to the youth that are doing the same thing. Like,
Mhm.
at their very young age, having the strength to stand up and do stuff that I'm just finally getting there, and some people will never be able to do. Like, bravo to them.
Mhm. Absolutely.
No wonder they're performing so bad because, they're a little more curious.
And
And
they're and they're
information is, at the tip of their fingers.
Yeah, and they get their information likely from, the internet and different things like that. They're not hooked into corporate media, who is the one that's just, whitewashing everything. So I think that's a huge thing as well. And yeah, you're starting to see these, like CNN bringing on people like Anna Kasparian, who she's an interesting character herself. But
Yes.
you've seen, and then, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name, but she's awesome. But they're bringing more content creators on because they're realizing, they're trying to bring in the youth to, watch them. But
Right.
it's an interesting space that we're in right now.
Yeah, there's a total market, like, gap. Like, I so wish that we had richer people that wanted to do good things, but,
Mhm.
it's like, when you're rich, are you really? Like,
How did they get that money? By
how did you
screwing
get
over
that
other people.
money? Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. Okay, so, nearly half or more of all Europeans believe that Palestinians were there first, and solid majorities believe they had a nation there. Yeah, because, I mean, that's the truth, and I think that's part of the key is, a land for a land without people, for people with, oh, Jesus Christ, with the
That was
celebratory things, I didn't mean to
that was
do
pretty
that.
cool. That was pretty sweet.
But, that
Where's
was
my
the
confetti?
slogan. Ah, that was the slogan that, they tried to sell people, that nobody was there. I mean, Charlie
Mhm.
Kirk said, Palestinians don't exist. Palestinians don't exist. Who are they?" You know,
Mm.
um, you're part to blame for the death of children there, bub.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, they're
the
actually putting on the missiles, they're putting in memory of Charlie Kirk and dropping them on, people. It's disgusting. Yeah. So,
I'm sorry, my stomach hurts a little bit.
yeah, it's gross. I mean, they're flaunting their war crimes. It's it's wild.
If our country doesn't get its ish together, I hope another country will
Mm.
have the wits
Yeah,
to
they should
stand
do
up
a
to us.
embargo on us for
Ye
sure.
Yeah, I really wish that countries would just say, "You know what? Since you're part to blame for you're the one supplying them billions and billions and billions of dollars and weapons. We don't want nothing to do with you." I mean, Jiminy Christmas, I'm surprised with all the tariffs people haven't already just done that.
Right. Yeah.
Hyundai having all of its people, 200 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, the
Um,
South Koreans, and they were
yeah,
there literally to actually train the Americans for American jobs, and that was their whole purpose. They're on a work visa, they were here
yeah,
legally, and now South Korea is like, "Screw that, we're sending them home," because most of them didn't wanna go back. They're like, "Why would I go back? I've just been terrorized." It's wild.
yeah. I I feel so bad. I mean, thank goodness they were sent back, to
Yeah.
South Korea, right?
Not El Salvador, right?
Yeah, but they were held for 8 days, I believe.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
inhumane
it's
conditions,
traumatic.
they said. They said
Mhm.
slurs were spouted at them, hate speech was spouted at them by
Mhm.
ICE officers. Like, obviously, the conditions are inhumane. We knew that. Like, thank goodness nobody died.
Right, yeah.
Like, what
Mhm.
if could you imagine a good-hearted person coming over here just to train people, just to do the right thing, to help our country? We're all about building our economy and having factories. And this company, I mean, I guess under the Biden administration, this was the deal, but
Mhm.
basically it's, what you want, Trump. And now
Mhm.
and that woman, she's oh gosh, chill out, Ryan. Not everybody knows where you're going. The woman who reported
Oh yeah, she's running
is,
for Congress, right?
yes.
It's wild.
And she's
Yeah.
talking about other places that she's going to report to
Hmm.
in that
Yeah,
area.
and that's going to have an economic downfall for her community. So hopefully nobody
Oh,
votes for that Karen.
she has screwed people, and not
Hmm.
just personally, but screwed businesses as well. Okay, was there anything else we wanted to say about Palestinians being there first?
No, hey, yeah, I think the historical records show that.
I think it does. I mean,
Yeah,
and actually, if you read the Bible, the biblical story backs that up as well. They're
yeah,
just called
yeah,
Canaanites.
yeah. I think as a wave of mutilation said, read a book, right? Come
Yeah,
on.
actually, why don't you read your book? But you
Yes.
might need to, like, step away from the propaganda surrounding it and just read it with your own eyes, with a fresh,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So why don't you read the
Next
next one?
book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got, but 8 in 10 Europeans nevertheless believe Israel has a right to exist as a nation state and the homeland of the Jewish people.
I mean, I just don't really have too much to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they could, I mean, of course, I mean, this is where it kind of becomes tough because we all know folks that are Jewish, and we probably love some of our friends who are
We
Jewish.
love them.
And I know myself, I have tons of friends, and I've actually asked them about this, and I was really skeptical too. And most of them just don't want to talk about it, which I get, but I still think it's like, like, and I think they're just kind of trying to like dig their head in the sand and say like, I don't want to hear what, this country
Yeah.
that I come from is doing. But yeah, I think if they could, get a leader who actually values human rights, who's probably more secular, which is going to be tough. And that's why I think atheists would be the best politician because we have no skin in the game, right? Yes, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. I don't care about your God. I
Yeah.
respect your right to, have your beliefs, but again,
Mhm.
as you said at the top of the show, I'm gonna challenge them.
Yeah, yeah, and so, yeah, I think if we can make sure that they're not oppressing anybody and have an apartheid state and have equal rights for everybody, then I'm sure the world would get around that and support that. But at the same token, do the Palestinians have the right to exist? Do they have a right to a state? Because right now, Israel's saying nope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Like
think the consistency is what's lacking.
and the all the people crying, I don't know what your opinion is. I guess I don't know if we'll ever get through this thing because we're talking so much, but I would
I
love,
love it though.
like, to know, um, like, when it comes to two-state solution, they could have had that. Like, that's
Mhm.
I mean, they were practically existing like that, but Israel wouldn't let them live. So, what is a two-state solution gonna do when it didn't work in the first place? It's Palestinian land. Like, it needs to be in the hands of Palestinians, and it if they so desire, a free nation where they both coincide and they both are in government and they're both making laws and rules that benefit them all, not just a specific nation that has to be of a very, small demographic. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I'm not saying they don't have a right to live there. I'm just saying it's not yours just because 'cause you've been
Yeah.
there for, 75 years or whatever it's been.
Mhm. Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah,
you're
exactly,
on
and when they
borrowed
actually
time. You've been on borrowed time. They're just trying to get it back as far as I'm
exactly,
concerned.
yeah, and I think when they divided up the land, Israel got, a majority of it while the Palestinians got less,
And
and
the best of it.
yeah, and Bassem Youssef, if you guys ever check him out, he's great, and he speaks so well on the subject. He was talking about how I think one of the first prime ministers of Israel said that if he was Palestinian, he would never agree to any of it because it always is more favorable to the Israelis than it is the Palestinians. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah, each and every time that, they've been brought to the table, the Palestinians are just supposed to accept handing over their land.
Mhm.
Everyone's like, "Well, they should have just taken it. They should have just ta—" I don't think that would have even mattered.
Mhm.
Let me just keep it real with you. We saw the plan. We know what they wanted. It might have put it off, maybe, maybe. But when you have an entire country that is being fed some of the most hateful rhetoric I've ever seen. Like I mean, I'm watching the same stuff being said that was said back in the 30s and 40s and stuff
Mhm.
being said now about Palestinians.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, that's
The
kind of
de
crazy to me.
the dehumanization of people is just it never leads anywhere good, and that's why we fight for human rights over here, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least get people more comfortable with talking about it. I understand that people might not have time to, always open up a book and they're getting fed misinformation and whatnot, but it's
Mhm.
getting to a point where like God damn, we have a responsibility as human beings to stop
Mhm.
this.
Yep, and try to be
Um,
better.
yeah, like seriously, let's be better. Okay, so the last one is they also see the Palestinians as having a right to a state. Okay, so they asked about that, because it's just you know, curious as to the questions and what they're asking, why they're asking, what they're trying to get at. They're just feeling around trying to find ways that they can use this information to manipulate
Mhm.
more people with whatever their messaging is. Oh god, oh shit, there's more findings,
Mhm.
there's more bullets, Mikey.
Yeah.
Okay, you wanna read that one?
Yeah, so about half of all Europeans were generally misinformed about the state of Israel as a democracy offering freedom of religion and having rights for women and gays.
Okay, I love how they put this. They
Right.
were
I felt gross
misinformed.
reading it that way.
They were misinformed, guys. They didn't know that we're the democracy.
Mhm.
We're the
Yeah,
democracy in the
yeah.
East. Pardon me while I bomb 7 countries.
Yeah, and this is where they'll throw it at you when you're, advocating for the Palestinians, and they'll say like, "Well, you know that they're throwing, people that are gay off the top of buildings. Do you know that?" And they try to throw that at you,
Like,
which,
"Oh, but you know what Israel does to gay people? They bomb them. Oh, and you know what
Mhm.
they also do? They they, um, they find out who their identity is by through trickery, and
Mhm.
then they manipulate them into doing things secretively for Israel because they're afraid of being found out. Because Israel says, "Oh, now we know you're gay. We're going to tell everybody if you don't go do A, B, C, D for us." Like, it's really deplorable. So that's what they do to gay people. Oh, and by the
Mhm.
way, it's not legal. Marriage isn't legal over there either. So give me a break. You're
Yeah.
no better. I love what Wave of Mutilation said. This is awesome. Qatar has withdrawn $1 trillion in funding IIRC after Israel bombed the Palestinian peace negotiators in Doha. Good,
Mhm.
good, because that and they didn't even get the people they were after,
Yeah,
but they
and it
were
was
trying to bomb the peacemakers. Are you kidding me?
yeah, it was almost like Trump set him up too, because he's the one that had them go there, and
Yup.
then, obviously knew about it. He lied that he's had no idea about it. But then it's either, "Oh, so are you incompetent or are you lying?" Which one is it? Um,
I love
yeah.
that because when he says things like, "Oh, I didn't know about that. I haven't been told about that. I don't know." How do you like, where are your people, bro?
Mhm.
Like, you need to have this information. I shouldn't be knowing about it before you do. Crazy, crazy talk.
Yeah.
Anything else about the freedom? I mean, we already know it's not a free state. It's not what they claim to be. You can't have a free apartheid state.
Yeah.
Does not work. Incongruent, counterintuitive. All right, so here we go. Fear of the threat of Islamic jihadism is prevalent throughout Europe. They've just taken this small group of people, this an extreme group that has formed because I feel the extremism that they have faced from Western countries. Excuse me, but like European, etc.
Mhm. Mhm.
countries. The
Yeah.
terrorism that they faced. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I
Mhm.
can I can see that these two things exist. They were fomented in our freaking behavior.
Yep. Yeah, it's like the US goes and invades some Middle Eastern country and destabilize it and makes horrible conditions on the ground. And then people are trying to fight back and say, like, look, stop bombing us. And nobody's listening. And meanwhile, the robber barons are making millions off the defense contracts and getting people pitted together. It's just a vicious cycle. And
Oh,
and then
the
they control them,
writers.
then Western media will constantly only talk about the extremism. It's gross.
And I mean, oh gosh, there's just so much to say. Oh my Lord, there's so much to say. Right. The way that our media portrays Arabs, portrays Muslims, like I don't know that I felt hatred. I didn't, obviously, because I don't know that I'm Arab, I'm Lebanese, and I know that there's a mix there, but they're not all, we're not just Arabs. Um, but it did probably gray my understanding of what that religion of those people, of who they are, what they think, what they believe, because of the movies. I mean, every freaking war movie or every freaking game out there, not all, but a lot of them are geared towards killing Muslim Arab people with head wraps, that look a certain way. Their skin color is usually brown, and that public opinion has now it's also intermingled with, now all Muslims are this. They're all jihad. They all believe this certain way. They're all going to push a gay person off a roof. And that is absolutely not the case. That's like me saying every Christian is going to commit a genocide. Now, I might say that they have genocidal beliefs, but I understand the difference, and I'm not
Mhm.
trying to stir up any kind of, people going out there and just murking Christians or anything like that because of me.
Right. Yeah, it's a complete overgeneralization. And yeah, I've also seen people were talking to me when I get in the debates about what the IDF is doing. And I said, based on your same logic, then, the 9/11 actually was the right thing to happen, because they were, advocating for, what the IDF is doing is right and sound and everything like that. And it's just a complete misunderstanding of taking a step back and just looking at it from outside of both sides and have an objective view of it, and just realizing that every human is equal, because I think they've been so programmed to dehumanize the Muslim community that they think of them as lesser people, and
Mhm.
it's awful.
And we have a real problem when we say, well, we're better with Christianity and all its extremes versus, Islam becoming popular here. How about we just create a government where we don't have to worry about a religion taking over? Let's just keep it fucking secular, bro. Yeah, sure, you
Hmm.
can be religious and be a politician, but if your decisions are are made to have people die because it's against it's against my religion, that's inappropriate, and we're not going to get anywhere anyway. So let's just move towards a better educated society and separate church and state, and that won't be an issue. That won't be your biggest fear. Like, how is that your biggest fear? Women are dying in this country. People of color are getting lynched, and
Hmm.
your biggest fear is Islam? Get the you fucking
Yeah.
idiot. You
Yeah.
fucking piece of shit idiot, asshole.
Yeah. I mean, when your religion starts impeding on the rights of other people, they say, well, Christianity doesn't kill anybody. I'm like, well, let's just forget about the Crusades then. But then second, we have women bleeding out on the hospital bed because of your religion. So really piss off with that crap talking point. And that's where it really
Exactly.
starts pissing me off as well.
Well, because they only considered it violence if somebody's taken a baseball bat to your head or a gun or
Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm.
Like,
Not
no,
denying
we
healthcare.
right. We exactly. We've realized now that with just a fucking push of a button, AI can now decide that all these people are not worthy of life and die. But that's
Hmm.
not considered murder. that's just like corporate. That's corporate stuff.
Yep.
The bottom line. We got to worry about the bottom line. Oh, sorry, people got to die.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
excuse
On a
me.
little tangent, Luigi just got acquitted of the terrorism charges this morning. I saw.
I
Yeah, so
heard.
they dropped
I
that
wonder.
charge.
I mean, I'm so freaking glad because what the
Mhm.
frick? I
I think
mean,
their
that.
other charges are still there, but I just saw a little headline and I'm like, oh yeah, because it wasn't a terrorist act. I mean, just murked one dude that, I don't condone violence, but
No, of
Yeah.
course, but I mean, whatever. But I do you at all think that it has anything to do with Tyler, with Kirk's? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like publicly, like, oh, if we put this guy to sentence him to death, then we might have to also. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
but
that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a radical left judge. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, that was wild how the tone changed after I realized, oh, it was a white dude that did it. It's like, well, usually it is.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I, I don't know.
Anyway, we're like 45 minutes into it. But I'm
We're
loving
having
I'm loving
fun.
I'm honestly loving the conversation, and it's really helpful to have somebody to dialogue with because my brain struggles like to just focus on this
Hmm.
because it's very unsettling.
Hmm.
Is yours the next one?
Yep. Next bullet point we got is Europeans believe that the Hamas casualty numbers are accurate and that mostly civilians were killed. They agree with the language of Israel being a genocidal apartheid country, even though it contradicts their opposition to Hamas in Iran. Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, after previous conflicts, Israel actually agreed with the numbers that I believe it was the um, Gaza Health Ministry, I think is
Yeah.
the ones that put it out. And they've always shown to be very accurate. And I believe it was leaked that Israel admitted that it was 83 or 87% of the casualties have been civilians. And actually, recently, a former IDF soldier came out and said that at least 200,000 casualties have happened. I think the number's probably a bit higher. But yeah, I mean, they can't run from that one. I don't know what messaging they could do to say like, but it's all right.
Right. Um, so I'm glad to see that at this point they're not really getting away with it. I mean, they are, but okay, people are starting to see the reality of it. I think we'll find that the next one it talks a bit about like at some point about how Americans take that very same messaging and stuff. Um, but the really disgusting part is seeing these news outlets still sticking to like numbers like 45,000 like bitch, that
Mhm.
45,000 number happened like within the first 6 months. I don't
Yeah.
doubt, quite
Mhm.
frankly, with the amount of buildings that, because at first it was really, they ramped it up. At some point it kind of like a tiny bit like slowed down, and now it's really ramped up since the when they cut them off again
Yeah.
from even food, like when the starvation kicked in, they really began intense bombings again.
Yeah, and
Again
today they sent in ground troops. Today is the start of the ground offensive.
into Gaza City.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, so the BBC has a headline, "Palestinians flee Gaza City as Israel launches major ground offensive," and
And
that
go
was the
where?
start of today.
To go where? To fucking go where? To another a
Exactly.
building of rubble, with
Mhm.
with no food, with no shoes, with
Devastating.
I don't have the words sometimes for
Mhm.
what I'm feeling and what I'm witnessing.
Mhm.
Anything else about that one in particular? Yeah. Now
No.
they agree with the language of Israel being a genocidal apartheid
Mhm.
country. Okay, but then, at the bottom, it's like that ah opposition, Hamas and Iran, it makes them go, there's a door there. There's a little crack
Mhm.
in the door I can get in. All right.
Mhm.
Top messages in Europe mostly echo what worked in the US, that Hamas fosters a culture of death and hate, celebrating atrocities, that the purpose of Hamas is to destroy all Jews and spread jihadism. They also question the alliance with the left given the cultural anti gay position of Iran and Hamas. Two other key messages: the Jewish people need a homeland, and Hamas at this point should just give up. That's a lot of messaging in one little
Mhm.
paragraph
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, when I was in grad school, they said keep your slides minimum, but I don't think they intended this to get out, did they?
No.
Yeah,
I'm glad that somebody was brave enough to put this out there, though. Thank goodness they did.
absolutely. Hmm.
Okay, so yeah, so this is them sharing what worked best in the US is to paint Hamas as a death culture, full of hate. They celebrate atrocities. They hate gay people. And then at the bottom is okay, well, Jewish people need a homeland. I'm not sure why I don't understand that messaging myself personally,
Hmm.
but the Hamas should just give up.
Yeah.
And for why shouldn't Israel just give up?
Yeah, and it's wild when you actually look at all of the when they were trying to make agreements about the release of the hostages and all of these deals that they were making, it typically was Netanyahu that said, no, I'm not going to agree to that because he wants to continue to ethnically cleanse Gaza and he also wants to stay out of court. I mean, I think the
Yes.
last time he was in court, he bombed Syria and he's like, oh, gotta go. And they
Yep.
dismissed the court. I'm like,
And
what?
one of the last times he was supposed to be in court, there ended up being a casualty
Oh, that's right.
event
That
in
yeah,
Jerusalem.
at the bus stop. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, interesting. There
Wow.
always seems to be something that stops him from going to
Mhm.
court for facing justice.
Him and
Yeah.
Trump seem to be the worst people in the world that have the best luck. I mean, that
Mm,
alone should get people not to believe in God, right? I'm just kidding.
right, like, god damn, how is that even
Yeah.
possible?
What?
Like,
Yeah.
if if you're guiding them, Yahweh, I swore to I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding, I don't believe. Okay, are we on to the next one? Was there anything else we
Yeah.
had about that?
No,
Alright.
yeah, let's see here. Let's see, the chat is blocking a little bit, but I'm gonna give it my best. Most
Oh, hold
importantly,
on.
all countries showed oh, wow, that was fast. Most importantly, all countries showed significant shifts after the messaging, averaging over 20 points, especially once the situation in Gaza is resolved. The room for growth in all countries is very significant.
I mean, 20 points that's pretty big.
It is
The
a big
fact that
swing.
someone can stand there and after you've seen all the deaths, have you seen the destruction, they can use fear to get you to where like, yeah, maybe Hamas should just give up. Like, go F yourself.
Mhm.
But we don't know I don't know who these test groups were, where they I mean, I know what countries they went to, but how they found them, like, who knows?
Mhm.
Okay, so the next one. Was there anything in that? I'm sorry. Was there anything in that?
Yeah, the only thing that I'm thinking of is just that international law has gone to shit, and I think
Oh,
that's the
fuck yeah.
another big thing. I mean, the number one thing is all the uh, tragic deaths that have happened, and then the trauma of those that have survived is going to be decades upon decades. It probably will never heal. But then the international law, the ICJ, the ICC, just completely ignoring those. That's setting a precedent for other
Yeah.
countries, other genocidal maniacs that are going to come in the future to do the very same thing. And America's not going to be able to take the moral ground on that. And it's really setting an awful precedent for future generations to deal with.
Right? The worst president ever. How is anybody gonna ever have respect for international law? Why should they
Mhm.
if Israel and USA doesn't have respect for it? And I
Mhm.
mean, other countries too. Like, I'm not gonna let Spain off just because, like, now they're really getting frisky with it. A
Mhm.
lot of the UK, they've
Mhm.
all been, like, hanging on to
Mhm.
dear life until they finally realize, like, "Okay, I guess we can't just continue co-signing it. We're
Mhm.
gonna have to stand up to some extent." And UK is fighting tooth and nail, though.
Mhm.
They just don't seem to wanna back down. They don't even consider what's happening a genocide, even though Israeli groups,
Mhm.
Independent B'Tselem, I think is one of them.
Yep. The World Leaders Genocide Scholars Association just concluded
Yeah,
that Israel is committing a genocide. I think they had a
right.
vote on that recently.
So how are you denying that,
Mhm.
UK?
Yeah,
Well, I
even the
can
UN inquiry finds top Israeli officials incited genocide in Gaza as well.
Oh, but, who was it that was just elected to was it was it to the UN or is it to one of the ICC or ICJ? And she's Israeli, so that made me worry.
Oh, okay. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think the gentleman who had put the arrest warrants out for Netanyahu, I think he might have stepped down, and I feel like
Oh,
she may have taken his position. But
okay.
if I'm wrong, I apologize, you guys. It's a lot of information. Trying to keep it straight is difficult. So
Mhm.
it's bad. And whatever it is, it's bad. Okay. We tested 10 animatics and the result reflect much of the survey. Okay, yeah, that's a nothing burger. The top scoring video message played the actual tape, a Palestinian T-word reporting to his mother how he had doot dee doot intercut with a doot connecting terror to Palestinians. I'm sorry, you guys. This was emotional and moved numbers in its sheer power. I don't know. Maybe that video does exist. But the fact of the matter is I don't trust anything that Israel does. So I don't know
Mhm.
that that's a real video.
Sounds suspicious.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I have to tell you, all the Palestinians that I've met over the internet wise, I guess I should say,
Mhm.
over the internet, have had nothing but lovely things to say about
Oh, yeah.
Jewish people, quite
Mhm.
frankly. Like
Yeah.
they've only ever told me this isn't Jewish people. This is extremism. This is Zionists. And generally
Mhm.
speaking, from when they've spoke out about it, they say Zionism because they know that it comes from Christians and it comes from Judaism. Comes
Mhm.
from the Bible.
Mhm.
So I just do not trust it.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and
all I
again,
got.
they're going based off emotion instead of, actual facts. And
Mhm.
and that's all they got is it's kind of like MAGA, right? All they got is vibes and gut feelings. The facts be damned.
Yes.
What up,
We're
John?
going off vibes today, guys.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Next one. Next in line were animatics that told the story of hostages in their own words and what they went through at the hands of the Palestinian beep, and also introduced radical jihadism and connected it to Palestinians. They were seen as gripping, emotional, and effective. Of course, this would require actual hostages willing to participate.
um,
Yeah, and it's again
okay.
just
Okay, so
overgeneralizing.
wowsies. So what they want to do is use the hostages to propagandize towards people, I see.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
I mean that's pretty typical. I can't say that I'm
mhm,
surprised. And they would do that and they would, tie that into radical jihadism. And then,
mhm.
they get to tie that into, well, it's almost, they do that little pipeline. It's just a
Mhm.
pipeline. Start
Yeah,
here, the really crazy messaging, and then they're able to just attach it to the like simplest words
yeah.
that mean nothing like that.
And it reminds me, I don't know why, but it reminds me of when I was a strong Christian in, like, my mid-high school days, um, how we would use testimonials to try to convert other people, like, "Oh, hear my story," in hopes
Mm,
that it sways you.
right.
Very similar thing if take these
Testimonial.
tragic stories, you're gonna get that emotional drive.
Right, there's gonna be a reaction. I can see that. I mean, this is what they're paid to do. They're figuring out what's going to work, and I do have fear about that. I do have some fear about that now that they see what will work, what's gonna start to surface, but I'm hopeful that people, just don't fall for it.
Mhm, mhm.
Anything I don't think there's anything else about that, is there?
Mm-mm.
No, okay. Third was simple message throwing out facts about Israel and the conflict to people on the street who said simply, I didn't know that. This softer message was most effective at moving numbers. Okay, I'm not really sure what their facts about Israel would be.
Mhm,
What facts are
mhm.
you going to throw out about Israel?
Yeah, because 'cause they're still throwing out debunked, things as well, which is wild.
Yeah, I mean, we know
Mhm,
that. I'm guessing maybe the facts about gays or something like
mhm.
that. Maybe they're throwing out facts about they have free healthcare.
Right, yeah, exactly. As we're funding all the arms for them, their citizens are getting free healthcare. while
Yeah,
we
man.
60% of us are going bankrupt.
We're arming them and we're educating them. So we're
Mhm.
creating a bunch of smart, murderous people.
Right.
Woo! That's wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah, I
goodness.
want to live in a state next to that state.
Mhm.
No, thank you. I would not want to be next to that. You want to read the next one?
Yeah, of course. Fourth, a variant of that just the facts message involved a college student with a Free Palestine sign who lowers it as she hears more messages about Israel and the conflict until she throws it away. This worked best with younger respondents who clearly related to the message. That's crazy.
How you feel about that? What are
Um,
you thinking about that one?
Again, and these are trying to like lump Palestinians in with, the Hamas folks, which, I mean, make it of it what you will, but Hamas has become a slur,
Right.
whereas people are trying to like distinguish between like, look, the Palestinians are a people as well.
Right. This whole just the facts. I wonder, is this a real story? Did
Hmm.
was someone swayed? Was someone holding a sign because they were there after knowing the truth of what's happening, the reality? Are they there just for funsies? Did this even happen?
Yeah, let's take the perspective of that person holding the Free Palestine flag. They're sitting there. They bought the flag, so that means that they've invested into it. So they already know about the many of the atrocities that are going on. And then they say, "Yeah, but did you know?" And you're like, "Oh, I guess all those babies that were sniped, and all of the refugee camps that were bombed,
Right.
and all the starvations. You know what? I'm gonna
You
throw this
got
flag
me.
away."
You got me.
Oh
Ah,
my
darn,
god!
darn, they fooled
Checkmate!
me. I'm on your
Checkmate!
side now. Right,
That's
like,
wild.
something seems so freaking weird about that. It doesn't
Hmm.
seem on the up and up. I mean, do I
AI
know?
generated video, I would put my money on it.
Like, for real,
Mhm.
quite honestly, that or just acting. Acting!
Yes.
They would do something like that. Okay, so the next one. Interestingly, a message that Free Palestine is a slogan of terror. What the not freedom did very well with US conservatives if that is a target. What the fuck if that is a target? They related to the ideas of defining what these slogans really mean. Free Palestine is a slogan of terror, not freedom?
And that's what, yeah. I mean, they're trying to lock, college kids up for saying that. I mean, we've already seen it with what happened with Charlie, and in Texas, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. I showed this to my wife, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but who posted that?" I'm like, "The governor of Texas." It was a lady. She was apparently mocking the death of him, and they arrested her with
Oh,
handcuffs.
shit.
And I showed my wife the picture. She goes, "Oh, holy crap! Wow." Um, I mean, it's wild. The free speech is no longer free unless you are, basically coddling the nuts of our president.
Right.
Mhm.
It's free as long as it's hateful towards the
Mhm.
specific group that they don't like, then it's absolutely fine. It's
Yeah.
actually you can even spout hate speech. They'll protect that. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
supposed to be protected, but people seem to be up in arms and feel as though you should be able to say like disgusting hate speech nowadays. Whereas before it was like a little more taboo. It's no longer. It's getting normalized to the point where it doesn't even phase people. Like not phased at all. Wild.
Mhm. Yep. So let's see.
Um, yeah, is it you?
Yeah,
Was it
yeah. In
okay.
addition, the notion of radical jihadism was universally effective, and for conservative audiences, connecting radical jihadism to a desire to dominate other religions was effective. Oh, the caliphate is coming. That's the yep, it's oh my gosh.
Thanks,
Yeah, what's up?
DMG. I appreciate you, buddy. You're so kind. I always appreciate you. Don't have to do that. I don't, I don't want you to feel like you have to, but I do appreciate you, Dan. We love you. And I'm so thankful that Dan, Dan is a former JW. And I just love when other former JWs get it. because I just see so many XJWs leave it and not really like deconstruct, and they're not really open. You know, they would just hear Islam or something like that and they'd be like, oh my God, oh, they're coming to get me. But, you know, they're again, this whole correlation with jihadism and Muslims is it spells it out here clearly. This is all being used as propaganda. They're one and the same. They're just one and the same. And if we don't fight it, they're going to take over our country. Look what's happening to the UK. Oh my God, look what's happening to the UK. In my opinion, I just think it's nonsense. And again, if we just make a secular government, it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah.
I'm the next one. Okay. Is the last one?
Yeah, the research.
My bad. Sorry, guys. The research is then very effective at creating message and campaign paradigms for how to improve the position of Israel about the conflict to A, general citizens across US and Europe, B, how to target younger people more directly, and C, how to target more conservative versus others. Interesting that they're so focused on conservatives.
That's about the only group that supported them still.
They got to make sure they can keep them in their back pocket, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, probably Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a real bummer for Israel.
Yeah, you know, I mean, she called them out for their space lasers that are starting the fires in California, I guess, out here.
And this is why, like, people, like, I'm glad that she's speaking up, but then it's also at the same dime, like, people like her also make it difficult for people like us who aren't hateful, who understand this isn't like a Jewish thing, who know this isn't a cabal.
Like, she's right. Yeah, she's right for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I mean, so in a way, I'm glad that she's getting to an audience that you and I would never be able to reach. Her and Tucker Carlson. But again, two people that I hate having to lift up into that pet, you know, pedestalizing them. Ugh.
Yeah.
I know, Mikey.
Yeah.
No, Mikey. Sorry, I had to.
No, absolutely. Yeah, she's yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, he kind of is like slumping, and like the way he walks.
Yeah, he drags that right foot.
And allegedly that's kind of indicative of, I don't know,
minor strokes.
Yeah, specific health problems. You know, I don't like to assume when it comes to, you know, what people have going on with their health problems, but he is of a particular age. He is under a lot of stress. I don't think that he sleeps the way that he tweets at like 2 a.m. I don't know what his sleep schedule is. He probably doesn't eat well. The most exercise he gets is walking like from the golf course to the cart.
Exactly, the cart that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's all Trump is getting. So, yeah, that gait is suspicious.
And he got that during the 9/11 memorial thing. He had that. He drags his
very super relaxed. It was like more. It was just more
dragon.
That something might be. Hi, baby girl, little Miss Pig Pie. What's she doing, little baby girl?
Yeah. One of the things that lets me know that I've been doing okay at parenting is when everybody was speculating that Trump was, you know, gone, like he was gone from the scene for like 3 days. I brought it up and my kids were in their room and I'm like, yeah, some people are saying that he might be dead. And then my son looks at me, my son's 6 years old, and he goes, what? Trump's not a good person, but he doesn't deserve to die. And I'm like, 100%, buddy, 100%, you know? And
how sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's that childlike mentality that I think sometimes we need to continue to, you know, human rights for everybody. Even if you are a terrible person, you know, you still deserve healthcare. You know, it should be a human right. Everybody should get it.
Agreed.
But I mean, he's getting the best medical care right now as well, and it's still making him look like, you know, he's struggling. But
true,
you know,
I mean, I do wonder though. I mean, he doesn't get the best cosmetic care. I mean, his
know,
face is still orange. His
yeah,
hair is a mess. So are we certain that he's getting the best medical care?
that's true. He's probably like just only getting.
RFK is his doctor.
Yeah, yeah. We shouldn't be listening to the experts, Mr. President. Or we should be
He's
listening to
giving him ivermectin. Oh, that's
man.
nice. I probably shouldn't do that. Okay, quickly,
Pickles.
we got to show the pickle pie. Hi,
Yeah.
Miss P. Can you come here? No, up here, up, up. Can you give me a kiss? Can I get a kiss?
Where's my treat?
Hi, hi, baby. Hi, my little girl. You say hi. Okay. Sarah. Oh, I love you too. I love you too. Okay. Wait, what did you say? Fuck Netanyahu? Oh,
Yes.
sweetheart, you're so smart. Mommy's taught you well. Yes, fuck Netanyahu. Okay.
Mhm.
I'll give you a treat later. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving along. Oh, whoa, we're finally into like some graphs and stuff.
There was a lot of graphs. I went back to grad school with these.
For real. I was like reading some. I'm like, wait, okay, what is it saying? Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Okay, I'm not really sure how we'll go about talking about this, but so cross-national comparison, right track or the wrong track. US and Spain are the most optimistic, but still the majority say their country is on the wrong track. Would you say that the things in your country are generally on the right track or the wrong track? Now, I'm not sure exactly what this means, if they're meaning like on the wrong track towards their ideology of Israel, or is there
It
something you can
must be like relations with Israel is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Are we strengthening them, or are we, moving in the opposite direction? And in the US, the majority said we're on the wrong track. Where's the I don't okay.
Which is interesting, which is why I wasn't really. So does that mean, okay, so now because see, this kind of stuff confuses me sometimes, because in my brain, if the country, you could take this and say, well, we feel like we're on the wrong track because this war should, the killing should stop. Or do they mean we're on the wrong track because we're not supporting Israel? You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I'm just easily confused. That's the problem with me.
But we could see that France is one of the big ones out there as well, with the majority, like huge majority, significantly that 82% say they're on the wrong track.
Okay, so that leads me to believe that, wouldn't that lead me to believe that they mean like we need to stop this war now? The wrong track means
yeah, that.
Okay, so that's a positive then, technically. The US is a 50. Okay. Figured it out. Thanks, Jesus. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and it's very also, they weren't asking the questions to the leaders of the countries, the Congress out here. It was actually citizens. And if you see most of these countries, the citizens are, on the right side of history pretty much most of the time. And it's the world leaders that are on the wrong side.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point, actually. Okay. So this one, what the hell are we looking at here? Do you want to read through that?
Yeah. In the US, Israel has a strong position over Hamas and Iran, but less strong against Palestinians. So support for Zionism is less certain, with 43% too familiar to have an opinion. I'm sorry, too unfamiliar to have an opinion. That's a big difference. So for each of the following, please tell me if you are very favorable, somewhat unfavorable, or very unfavorable, or if you do not have enough information to form an opinion. So that blue color is favorable, the yellow color is unfavorable, and the dark navy blue, is that not familiar enough to say.
Okay, so this is about support for Zionism.
And based on
so basically 73% of Christians support Zionism.
I wonder why.
Is it because they might just be genocidal? No,
Jesus is coming back.
Gee, right. This is, I mean, gosh, like, let us not forget, this is all to bring back Jesus. I mean,
Mhm.
not necessarily for Israel.
Mhm.
Theirs is like a different
Some of them will be saved, but
theology.
most of them will be murked when, he comes down on the winged horse or whatever it is,
Hey, you
cheering for
must
the
assimilate.
apocalypse.
They have to be assimilated.
Mhm.
That's their main goal. That's the Christians' main goal. I think it's kind of crazy to even go along with them because I wouldn't want to be the one of the ones that have to face when the Christians
Mhm.
finally decide that they want to get in on the genocide. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Whew,
And
that'd be
then when
bad.
you look at Judaism, that's actually quite a bit less than Christianity, which is
Right.
very interesting. Yeah, 52% favorable, 22 unfavorable, 26 not enough information. And then the actual country of Israel, 50% versus 32 unfavorable, 18 not enough information. And then they
Mhm.
asked about Benjamin Netanyahu, 38%. Yeah, because I mean, he would have lost the election had this whole conflict not have happened. 38% favorable, 36 unfavorable, 26 not enough information. Palestinians, just a little bit lower than BB, 34% favorable, 42% unfavorable, 25 not enough information. Saudi Arabia, 34% favorable, 43% unfavorable, 23% not enough information. Islam, 32% favorable, 44 unfavorable, and 24 not enough information. And then Zionism, 23% favorable, 34% unfavorable, and 43% not enough information. And then Muhammad Abbas, 17%
PLO.
unfavorable. Did I say that wrong? Mahmoud?
No, I was just saying he's one of the PLO leaders, or
Okay.
was, I guess.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Um, yeah, 17% unfavorable, 46 I'm sorry, 17% favorable, 46% unfavorable, and 37% not enough information. Iran, 15% favorable, 66% unfavorable, 19%. Yeah, not enough information. Hamas, right there alongside with Iran, 13%
Yeah.
favorable, 64% unfavorable, 23 not enough information, and political Islam, 11% favorable, 65% unfavorable, and 24% not enough information.
Well, my goodness gracious, me oh my, doesn't surprise me that the bottom
Mhm,
3 basically are coming in, like, almost at a tie for, like, where people fall on their
mhm,
opinions of that.
yeah,
Hmm. Um, and Zionism, it is interesting to see that Zionism is at I would love to know what this would have been, like, 5 years ago
yeah,
with 23% favorable, but
mhm,
43%. Not enough to say which, could be swayed to the unfavorable,
mhm.
really, with the right messaging, but with the wrong messaging,
And that's what this
they could
whole
use that.
survey is trying to get. They're trying to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly, with the right messaging, that's a large majority that they can start to, sway.
Mhm,
Yeah, so the Mahmoud, I don't kn I don't know much about him. I don't know if he's still alive. I really am not.
mhm,
I'm not really sure. Um, but, it's interesting who they're trying to rate here. They're rating religions, couple people, and then one one on Islam, one on Iran, yeah, so they're like 3 that where I feel like they're trying to see, okay, who's hated worse, and then how can we use that
yeah,
to our
exactly.
advantage?
Yep.
Oh, man, it's messed up. Anything else? Should we move on? I think we can move on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cross-national comparison favorability. For each of the following, please tell me if you are very favorable, somewhat favorable, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what's the range? Okay, so of Christianity. So it looks like for the most part, Christianity's, kind of up there, almost higher than everything else, except for when it gets to Islam. Actually, no, that's actually wrong because even still, it's still kind of high up there.
Mhm.
It's not even that it's not even rated that bad, quite frankly, in the UK. In the US,
Yeah.
excuse me, sorry. Interesting. Sorry, I'm kind of just talking to myself as I'm looking through these. So in Israel, the Christianity is 50% favorable. Oh no, wait. Oh wait, no. Oh my God. Help me read this. What the hell am I? What the hell? How is this supposed to be? What does this
Yeah, I
mean?
think they're just basically asking their favorability based on those categories. Christianity seems to be the most favored across the board, across all
Right.
5
Okay.
countries. Israelis, actually a little bit less than Judaism, it looks like, kind of across the board. Well, yeah, so it's the Israeli people, and then the religion Judaism, and then Israel as a country. It's really weird how they broke it down across those 3 different
Yes,
categories.
yes, they did.
Yeah. Um,
I'm glad to see how they're ranking though.
yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah, definitely,
Um,
the country itself, and that's what I try to focus on when I, kind of debate people on X or whatever is, really trying to take, even though when you actually pull the citizens of Israel, some of their polls suggest some interesting things, but I try to separate the people, just like I would like, other countries to separate us people out here in America and not assume that we're all a bunch of warmongers that just want to
right.
destabilize the Middle East. And that's when I was trying to, say like, well, if you think that the Palestinian civilians deserve to be murked because of what Hamas did, then you would think the American civilians should be murked because of what the military out here has done, and
Right.
and it's the same logic, but
Yeah, it's the same concept, really.
mhm,
I you know, I don't want any bad things to happen to anybody. I wish that people didn't have to die. If it were up to me,
mhm,
that's that would just be common fucking sense, bruh.
right.
Seriously. Anything else here of
No, yeah,
interest?
it's interesting data for sure.
Certainly is. Okay. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Here's
Oh,
some good
this is
ones.
continued. So they continued on with the same question.
Yeah.
How do you feel? What's your favorability with Zionism, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the political Islam as practiced in Iran or by the Taliban? All
What
very
fucking
low.
questions are these, bro?
The Houthis get a bad rap. I
They
mean,
really do. It's so I feel
yeah,
so bad for the Houthis, man. They're such
yeah.
brave people.
Yeah, like anytime there was atrocities happening, they actually did something other than, just where the other world leaders wouldn't do anything. And then once, yeah, it's just,
Yeah, they
but
spoke up
anyway,
when other people were silent,
yeah, yeah,
basically. Okay, so wow. Zionism favorable, only 23% in the US. Wow. That's crazy.
hmm
I mean, I'm glad.
yeah.
But
But
I
like you were
want
saying, what would it be 5 years ago? Yeah.
right, exactly. So this is good news. But the fact that they are even bringing Hezbollah and the Houthis in here and all just to figure out who they can start messaging about. That
hmm
really pisses me off. Okay, let's scroll on. Oh, ugh, they got the numbers all crunched in here. I don't think that's
Oh,
my
I've been in Excel when that's done that to me. They should have tried a little harder.
yeah,
Spread that graph out a little bit more.
I mean, for the money that they paid for this survey, you'd
Yeah.
think they would have got better graphics.
I could have fixed it. I could have fixed it, but I wouldn't have done it for them. I'd be like, "Nope, you guys get this off."
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, so this is a cross-national comparison of favorability towards Israel, Israelis, and Palestinians. Um, and so again, it was just the same question. The summary was Spain records the lowest level of favorability for Israel across the markets. Yeah.
Okay. Favorable towards Israel. Okay, so 50% of US is favorable towards Israel. Great, great. And only
Mhm.
32% are unfavorable? God damn. Just seems low, but
Mhm.
uh Spain is killing it, man.
Yeah.
Unfavorable towards Israel, 72%. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's great to see a colonizer kind of maybe
I know exactly. It's kind of wild to
change
say
their
that.
mind, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sorry, Spain. I mean, I know, but I got to put it out there, bruh.
Yeah. 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 So
Anything
it
else?
is sad to see the Palestinians with their, such low numbers, but
How is that
uh,
even like that is what fucks me up, man. And
mhm,
that's all because of the negative messaging about Hamas. They
mhm,
basically turned Palestinians into a T group.
mhm,
All of them. When that's oh man, it's messed up.
mhm.
And even in Spain, I mean it's
Yeah, only not even half of them are.
right, like it's not even that great.
Mhm,
Wow. Although unfavorable towards Israelis, 60%. So okay, Spain.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but like you were saying, you know, I try to separate it out. I just try to say, Israel. Um, I do watch their news over there. I do see
Mhm,
how they speak. I do know that like 80% of them are favorable towards like taking Palestinian land. So there is something to
mhm,
be said about that because of the rhetoric that they're being fed.
mhm.
Just similarly, like we've got the same kind of people over here feeding our people full of rhetoric. So they've got a lot of work. I mean, Israel
Yeah.
has a long road ahead if they're going to be able to stay or stick around to
Mhm.
not just fix their image. They need to fix their people.
Yeah. I know I was trying to put myself in their shoes, and what would I do if all of a sudden people in like Washington state just started going and like settling in Canada and just like, American Canadians and taking their houses and saying like, nope, we're going to live here now. Like, would we not have massive protests saying like, no, you guys can't do that. Like you're screwing over them. And it's also going to reflect poorly on our country. And you're just going
Right.
to create more people hating us. But that's what they're doing to the West Bank right now. And
Oh my
it's
gosh, the
crazy.
raids, the amount of people
Yeah.
that they're killing in the West Bank, the raids, I saw them marching like, I don't know, hundreds of men they had
Thousands.
marching through the streets that they were taking as hostages, and nobody
Mhm.
talks about, "Hey,
Yeah.
Bree," nobody talks about the hostages that Israel takes. Nobody discusses the thousands upon thousands of hostages that are in Israeli prisons. Nobody mentions the fact that Israeli prisons won't even let prisoners go after they die. They will
Mhm.
hold a prisoner's body until their sentence is served, so the
Mhm.
family can't even get their dead, their corpse.
Mhm.
I mean, they I don't even they
Yeah.
RAPE people
Mhm.
in
On
uh
video. Yeah, it's on video.
on video. We
Mhm.
know they do this. We saw them arguing and fighting about that they should be allowed to RAPE
Yeah,
Palestinians.
they released that one IDF soldier after the Israeli citizens protested it and said, "No, he should be allowed to do that." And
Right,
yeah, that's
right.
yeah.
They protected his right to
Mhm.
grave
Yeah.
Palestinians. Oh boy, it's yeah, so it was so completely tragic here.
Mhm.
All right, is it my turn?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, in the US, Israel has support over Iran, Hamas, and Palestinians. Psh, eat it.
Mhm.
Support for Israel over Palestinians is less than for Iran or Hamas. In comparison, 84% support Ukraine over Russia in their conflict. So, in general, would you say that the conflict between Israel and Iran, Hamas, Palestinians, again, it's the way they lump everybody together. You lean
Mhm.
more towards supporting the Israelis or Iran, Hamas, Palestinians. What the God damn, man. It just pisses me off how blatant they're being with the messaging, what
Mhm.
they're going to do with the messaging.
Right.
That pisses me off.
Yeah.
Um, so 84% support Israel, over 16% for Iran. Um, regarding Israel or Hamas, they support Israel over supporting Hamas. And then between Israelis or Palestinians, 65% still support Israelis over Palestinians. wowsies. But like
Yeah.
they said, when it came to the Ukraine, it was just like automatic support for Ukrainians, like not even a thought, not a second thought.
Yeah, and that's a big testament to corporate media's coverage of it. I know that there's some people that would take the headlines of if there was a IDF soldier that got murked or something like that, how they would cover that versus if a bunch of Palestinians got murked, how they would cover that. And it was like, if a Palestinian happened to them, oh, an incident occurred in Gaza. If it happened to an IDF soldier, terror,
Murder. Yeah.
it's
Yes,
crazy.
exactly.
Oversensitive. I mean, nobody should be murked, but at the same time, it's they're really playing hide the ball with that one.
They just said kids died. Kids died the other day in tents. Okay, well, why? How? Like, what happened to them? Oh, well, Israel bombed them. Oh, you left that part out. Okay, like be truthful. Be truthful with your reporting, but they'll find a way to spin it, which is why, like, ground news. I'm not I don't have a subscription or anything, but I do enjoy just checking out the headlines to see how other people are skewing the headline.
Yeah.
Sad. All right.
Cross-national comparison: Israel versus Iran. In general, would you say that in the conflict between Israel and Iran, you lean more towards supporting Israel or Iran? Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, just the fact that, yeah, I mean, so we could kind of see the usual suspects, support Israel the majority of the time, but yeah, France and Spain, you have a little less so with them, but still the majority support Israel. I think too, yeah, the last time that that Trump went and bombed Iran after his, I mean, completely illegal. They had no threat to us, no threat to Israel as well, but was doing the bidding for Bibi because he was bought off by Marion Adelson, and yeah, I mean, I think when people were starting to see that, and hopefully people were like, well, but really they weren't doing anything different that they were doing before. But I mean, again, the media is not going to really talk about how before Iran was actually following the nuclear deal that they signed under that was under Obama. If I think John Kerry was the one that helped get that. First term, Trump came in and dismantled that, even though they were following it. And then since then, they're like, well, fuck it. We might as well start, enriching uranium because, but
you're gonna
yeah,
treat us
I
like
mean,
we're doing bad things regardless. It is interesting to see that the UK has a 30% for Iran, though. I'm actually surprised with that, considering the US is at 16%. Boy, we really are the worst of everybody. We're really screwed over here.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Okay, so now cross-national comparison: Israel versus Hamas. In general, would you say that in the conflict between Israel and Hamas, you lean more towards supporting Israel or Hamas? Of course. I mean, I wouldn't expect any different. Really.
Yeah, the actual numbers are a little higher than I would suspect. I thought most people were like, oh, well, they're the the P word, and but I mean, you got almost a third of folks in the UK and over a third in Spain supporting them.
You're right. That is a bit surprising that it's not worse. I mean, wait a minute, because it was 16% for Iran, and it's 17% for Hamas in the US. So I mean,
yeah,
the US might be screwed. They might be losing way more than they realize.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, the numbers kind of almost read the same between here and here. Not too much different. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, cross-national comparison: Israelis versus Palestinians. In general, would you say that in the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians, you lean more towards supporting the Israelis or Palestinians? 65% of Americans lean towards the Israelis versus 35% to the Palestinians. 47-53 with the UK, 55-45 Germany, 41-59 France, and 29-71 Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. I bet this was shocking to, those that were doing this survey. They were like, oh shit, we're
Yeah,
losing this.
especially when you get previous numbers where Palestinians aren't really, as favorable
Mhm.
as Israel or, what have you. And then here you see how they wrap. I'm just a little baffled, which makes me wonder about how these questions really were put to people,
Yeah.
how much I trust this information. Pickle
Yeah,
pie.
that's right, Pickles, I agree.
You want to read this one while she
Yeah, of
barks?
course, of course. I was just giving the chat some love. Stoked to see everybody here. In the UK, Gen Z I'm sorry, let me read that again. In the UK, Gen Z in the UK are more likely to support Palestinians over Israel. Opinion elites in the UK are more supportive of Israelis. So in general, would you say that in the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, you lean more towards supporting the Israelis or the Palestinians? And so when they took all the total together, it looks like 53% supporting Palestinians versus 47 supporting Israelis. For Gen Z, it was even more support for the Palestinians at 65 versus 35 for the Israelis. Opinion elite, only 32% for the Palestinians and 68% for the Israelis. 18 to 24. This is the big one. Yeah, support for the Palestinians, 75%. So 3 out of 4. And only 25% for the Israelis. 25 to 34, we got 46 for the Palestinians and 54 for the Israelis. 35 to 44, 53 for the Palestinians, 47 for the Israelis. And then, 50-50 for 45 years to 54 years old. 55 to 64, almost 50-50, it was 49 to 51. And then 65 or older actually has more support for the Palestinians at 56% to 44%. Well, that's cool. The older you get, wow, that's really interesting. This is probably one of the only few polls that you'll find that you have you have a really young support, and then it kind of tapers off into less support for the Palestinians. And then when you get when you get really older, retirement age, they're 56%. It's very interesting data. You're still muted. Still muted. You're still muted, Ryan. There you go.
Oopsie, thank you. I was saying it seems that like at that age, your compassion bone must start to grow back. I don't know.
Yeah.
You must
Yeah.
lose it. It falls off in your middle age and then you grow it back.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, real quick. So we're at an hour and 37, and we are at page 17 of 40. We're at page 17 of 49. Do you want to close off at like 2 and see where we get? Or do you think should we skip to a certain place? Should we do start another one and continue from where we left off? Do you have any
I'm open to
opinions?
all of the above. Yeah. Yeah, I do know that. Yeah, the graphs go on till about page 43. And that's at page 43 is when the messages that perform well overall for all markets, and they start talking about their messaging at page 43.
Yeah, because that's like the juicy part. That's where we'll be able to see what they have planned, like what they're going to come up
The
with,
yeah, the messaging
Mhm.
campaign.
Yep, messages that perform well. Here we go. Here's how they're gonna combat this. Well, because Little Miss Pickles, I'm gonna have to walk her shortly.
Yeah.
Shortly. Not exactly yet. So if you want, we could go like a couple more pages. Where did I just end off? My bad. I think it was right here.
German split, yep.
Yeah. We could do a couple more pages if you
Yeah.
want, and then close out, and we could maybe do it either later this week or do another one next
Oh,
week or
yeah.
whatever.
This is fun, yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It because as you saw earlier, I was even struggling to read understand what I was reading. So I'm glad you I was like,
Mhm.
wait, hold on. What am I saying? And what am I reading? So I sometimes need a little guidance,
Yeah, no doubt.
slow here. All right, well let's just go for like another 15
Perfect.
ish. Okay. All right. You want to do
Sounds
this
good.
one?
Yeah. So Germans are split on support for Israelis versus Palestinians. Yeah, I remember right at the beginning of the conflict, they're like, we
Mm.
support Israel no matter what they do. And
Right,
it's
right,
like,
right.
well, yeah.
Now you're
Um,
even losing them, bro.
yeah, they keep on being on that wrong side. Anywho, other than Gen Z, results are similar across age groups in Germany. In general, would you say that it's the same question? And so, yeah, so the total when I believe when they summarize all of the data, it was 45% supporting Palestinians versus 55% supporting Israelis. So, I mean, damn near 50
Yeah.
50. But yeah, but then when you see
Right.
Gen Z, they and I think that we were talking about earlier, they're really more probably in tune with news on the internet and TikTok and
Right.
actually seeing all this stuff, whereas some of the middle-aged folks that are just working all the time and not diving deep on TikTok aren't maybe seeing all that as well. So Gen Z 63 too. Yeah, nice to meet you too, John. What's up? Yeah, I'm
Well,
stoked
that
to be
is
here.
why and you guys, so obviously Mikey's on YouTube, but I did put his link tree and his YouTube channel in the description so you guys can go follow.
Yeah, I just started in April, so I'm a newbie, but yeah,
Aw.
this is my first collab, and my kids were
Whoop,
very
whoop.
proud. My kids were very proud of me. Oh yeah, my daughter
Aw.
wanted to make sure that these rubber duckies were up there. One of them is
Ah,
so one of them is SoCal Ducky raise a beak, so that's right there, and then we have
I
a
see.
punk rock ducky right there. Yeah,
Punk
so
rock ducky, love it.
she's like, Dad, can you just make sure you give a shout out to SoCal Ducky and raise a beak for him? So,
Oh,
woo.
quack, quack for SoCal ducky. Quack, quack.
Nice. Every time I get embarrassed, I turn red like a lobster, but it's all good.
You know what? Even though I'm Lebanese, I'm probably not as dark as some might be, but wide range of when it comes to skin color. Um, but yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, little pink. Um, for this one, I don't think there's
Yeah.
really any. Maybe for these, we could just do mostly the total and then kind of talk about
Yeah, and see
the.
any outliers and whatnot. Yeah, and as I already
Yeah,
mentioned, the outliers were really with that 18 to 24 and the Gen Z folks.
I think that would be a good idea. Okay, so not bad. I'm actually surprised that it's not worse for the total. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, this is why they want to start buying up Twitter. They want to buy TikTok because that's where they're going to be able to
Mhm.
get to these kids. They're going to go
Yeah.
to those apps.
Yeah, and I think they were trying to lead the charge of getting TikTok banned in America,
Yeah,
because it wasn't doing them much favors.
allegedly they're talking
The
about it.
tech the tech
Mm,
Trump loves the tech gurus because, they give him a lot of money.
yeah, the technogagi bitches. All right, French citizens show higher support for Palestinians than Israelis. Okay, go
Oh, oui,
French.
oui, oui, monsieur.
Oui, thank you. Okay, so the same question again, and we see that for their total, that 59% support Palestinians versus 41% supporting Israel. And then again, with those younger people, we see that 80% support Palestinians and 20 to Israel.
Mhm,
Like wowzers. And then kind of almost similar with the older groups, except for um, the older folks in France. They're still kind of bottom heavy with the
yeah.
Israelis, just a
It gets
bit.
lesser the more, older you get.
Yeah, but that middle's pretty good. The
Mhm.
80% and the 75%,
Yeah,
and Gen Z too.
gotta give it up to the Gen Zers. And on this
Ooh,
one, so we got in Spain, the majority
this
support
is
Palestinians
crazy.
over Israelis across age and opinion elites. Yeah, so on the
Spain.
total right there, yeah, this is very consistent across the board for sure. 71% support in total versus 29 supporting Israelis. So
We're counting on you,
yeah,
Spain.
yeah,
Spain, from me to you, we need your help. Can you
yes,
please say
indeed.
this stop? We're trying, but we can't. We need you, Spain.
Mm,
Come save
yes,
us. And we'll forget all about them genocides, man. Okay, we'll let them go. Okay,
yeah,
maybe not, but you can kind of redeem yourself.
yeah.
Okay,
It's a compromise.
you know. Okay, so 71% for the total support in
Yeah,
Palestine, and then across the board, that's
super consistent. Yeah.
very, and I'm
Mhm.
loving that. I'm loving that for Spain, and I wish that we could get our country, but ugh, wishful thinking. What the hell
Mhm.
is this?
Yeah, we got that cross-national comparison, historical perceptions.
Oh gosh. Okay, so these are like freaking questions they asked. I see.
Mhm. Yeah, majorities
War.
believe wars have occurred in which Arab nations have attempted to destroy Israel, but also that Israel has attempted to destroy other nations. To the best of your knowledge, have you been dot, 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 or do you believe no such conflicts have occurred? So wars in which Arab nations have attempted to destroy Israel.
Oh fuck.
Hmm.
God damn.
Yep. Yeah. So quite a majority agree that those nations have attempted to destroy Israel. Um,
The country who a
his-
state occupying state. I'm sorry, I say country.
mm,
Occupying state that has bombed sovereign nations and
yeah,
countries.
7, right? Yeah.
Wild.
And so this is also, I guess, and it's interesting. Okay, because they frame it in a historical perception, but and then
Mm.
the middle bar graph there, Jews were kicked out of Arab lands following Israel's gaining independence in 1948.
Hmm.
And so the majority again believe it occurred. Looks like averaging somewhere in the upper 60s, lower 70s,
Yeah.
and then did not occur somewhere around the 30s ish. And then the last bar graph there says wars in which Israel has attempted to destroy other Arab nations, and very similar to
Okay.
the middle one.
I mean, I'm glad I see more blue than
Mhm.
yellow than did not occur, though. Surprisingly less than the reversal, in which they
Mhm.
portray themselves as the victim. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we all grow up, with learning in school about the Holocaust and the atrocities that occurred there, and
Mhm.
so growing up, you hear about that so much, and your heart goes out to the relatives and the new generations, and then something like this happens, and it's like you have this like budding conflict of like, well, I know growing up that they went through some awful things, and that anti-Semitism is real, and there's still neo-Nazis out there, and
Mm.
you want to show them support and love because we love, we're advocating for human rights even for Jewish folks. But then when you see what's going on and what the IDF is doing, you got to be consistent and say, well, now they're committing it. And but I think all of that knowledge growing up has probably impacted people's ability, and then a lot of people don't get the actual news, and especially out here in the US, corporate media is just doing an awful job of it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
It's coming at people on many different fronts.
Hmm.
So, getting accurate information in front of people
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
it's difficult, and something that they do very well. Something they've created Hasbara and have been doing this PR campaign for years. I mean, this is
Hmm.
very smart. I mean, I don't like it. I'm not saying
Hmm.
do this, but
It's
I
data
mean, come on.
driven. I'm
Yeah,
always
right.
about
I mean, this is you're going to figure out how to get your
Mhm.
messaging down. I hate it, but I guess it's
Mhm.
smart on you. Okay, so cross-national comparison, percent of first presence in the land known as Israel. UK, Germany, France, and Spain are split on whether Jews versus Palestinians first established a presence. When you go back in history, who do you think first established a presence in the area known as Israel? You know, why did you ask the area known as Israel? Go F yourself. You should have asked the area known as Palestine, cunts.
Mhm.
But anyway, Palestinians or Jews. So, I mean, not really a surprise there. The majority of them land with Jewish people first, but Spain, whew, I'm pleasantly
Mhm.
surprised at that number too.
Need to take a vacation there to go give them all some props.
I was never really planning on going to Spain, but guess what?
Yeah,
I might be going to
yeah.
Spain sometime.
Barcelona.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
ready to go. Okay, so how do you just I mean, we're here, we got a couple more minutes. Why don't you tell
Mhm.
me what you think about that, about this? Who established a presence first? Should that
Yeah.
be the deciding factor?
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think, when you look at how Israel was established, and even taking the words of, I believe, like I said, it was the first Israeli prime minister who realized that the Palestinians got the raw side of that deal and said that I would never accept anything that, Israel puts forward. I mean, coming from, and the first prime minister saying that, they kind of let the cat out of the bag right there. And when we, when it comes to the historical, thousands of years back, I have a Bible, I have a Bible myself, and I've looked at it, and so I can kind of see, what happened, and how, allegedly Israel marched out of Egypt and then just went and committed genocides all over until it established its land. And so, I mean, they're playing their role for sure, but I mean, my understanding is that it's always been Palestinian land, and that they just got it divided up for Israel to occupy part of it.
yeah, from what I've learned, and I've been doing my best to I mean, I was doing a lot of this without even knowing what I was doing, really. Um, trying to historically parse out what really transpired in Canaan, what was known as Canaan. And from what I can see, I mean, if you really wanted to go back and you really had to like put a name on who was there first, honestly, the first I kind of feel like it would be the Peliset. I mean, that's what Egypt put there first, or they'd be neck and neck. Right? Like it would either be it could be as the Bronze Age collapse happened around the 1200 BCE that the Peliset got there at the same time as what were known as, or I don't even know what they were known as, but let's just say Hebrews, approximately maybe the same time. But I don't know that you can solidify saying, oh, okay, well, the Peliset reached the land first, exactly 1200 BC, and then at 1201 Hebrews. So I mean, technically, right? Like it's just like, I mean, to me, that's almost a little bit silly. I would just say Canaanites or Palestinians and Jews have been on that land for thousands of years, approximately at the same time. Again, maybe Palestinians a little bit beforehand, but they've never left. So I would say the people who've never left and have generations of family still there, that's their land.
Mm-hmm.
And there were Jewish people there. I mean, yeah, have they been, did Israel kill them? Yeah, they've killed them. A lot of them, not all of them, obviously. But it wasn't a Jewish or a Palestinian thing. It was just I've been here and have not left despite what the Bible narrative is.
Right. Right.
Like it's run a
Exactly.
narrative of empty land, and they've kept that empty land narrative, which is just a lie. It's an outright lie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my opinion of it, folks.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Maybe that was more of like a non-answer, but I don't know. Um, let's see. Do you think maybe we should stop here? Let's see,
Sure.
hold on. Let me see if there's any. Actually, why don't we just do these last two and then we
Yeah.
can start it here
Okay.
for the
Perfect.
next
Yeah.
time? That works. All right, you do this one.
All right. Cross-national comparison. Perception of whether there was a recognized country with Palestinians. Historically speaking, do you believe there was ever a recognized country with a people known as Palestinians, or is this a new term that was recently created? And so the two categories are these. The yellow is these are new terms that have emerged recently, and then hey, what's up? And then the blue or teal is there was a country known as Palestine and people known as Palestinians. And so 66% of the Americans believe that there was a country known as Palestine and it recognized the Palestinians. Only 34% just think that it was something that was just emerged. For the UK, 70% recognize Palestinians, and then 30% said it was something that just emerged. And yeah, so it looks like it's actually pretty average across the board.
Yeah.
So recognizing that, Palestine was there was a country known as that and recognize.
I'm actually kind of surprised with the way that Spain has ranked, and then seeing that Spain only has 67% and 33 are like they're not sure. They think it's a new term. I'm like, what?
There was another one that was very similar like that too, and I'm like, do they just want all the killing to stop, and they still not a big fan of Palestinians, or what is it?
Yeah, like come the frick on, people. What the hell is happening? I mean, it's promising, and I'm sure that Israel hated seeing this. Because their whole shtick is that Palestine never existed because people don't know the connection of the Peliset, and the Canaanites. They don't get that it's the same goddamn people, you freaking jack-offs. All right, so cross-national comparison, perception of Arab support for Nazi, fuck my asshole. Perception of Arab support for Nazi Germany during the Holocaust. Of course, they want to. Wow, let's just throw this in here. I mean, did you happen to ask about like our support of German during the okay? To the best of your knowledge, did any Arab nation assist Nazi Germany during the Holocaust, or did they not support the Germans in their efforts to exterminate the Jews? Okay, well, okay. Thank goodness it's top heavy with believing the Arab nations did not support Nazi Germany during the Holocaust.
Wow.
Let's see who performed the best. It looks like France. France is the one who I mean, the French were in it though. You know what I mean? Like I think they were in it before we were they not?
I believe so, yeah.
UK and France were fighting before we joined. I think it took us 2 years. If I'm not correct, 2 years before we joined, and I don't even think that we right away stopped selling them arms.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we did eventually, but it still took us a little bit to withdraw.
The defense contractors got to get their money. I mean, how are they going to feed their kids?
I know, right? Oh, they're poor kids. What about the rich people's kids? Nobody thinks about them. Fuck me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. So
boom.
I think we did pretty good.
I do too. Yeah.
I think my head hurts a little bit with all this information, but I'm glad that I know it.
Yeah, and I mean it's a testament to how deep Israel dives with their information campaigns. I mean, when you look at the intelligence that Mossad takes out, I saw a couple comments, about Mossad and Epstein, and I know there's like rumors going around that what happened to Charlie, there might be some influence. I mean, there's so many questions that are still unanswered. I mean, for one, we have an incompetent doofus heading the FBI. But with like the decoys that were in the crowd to the changing of outfits, and something's not adding up with all of that as well. But I mean, you could see that, the Mossad takes really, they take their information and they really dive in deep with it, and they want to make their narrative, picture perfect, so that way they could continue to do the things in the darkness, so that way people don't see while they're doing the narrative over here, they're over here meddling and who knows what. So
and just like special agencies, I should say, in the US, they don't necessarily talk to each other. They aren't all necessarily working with each other. Even Mossad probably has issues with things that, Israeli government does and vice versa.
Mhm.
So, who even has a leash on some of this? I mean, not just the propaganda, but their
Mhm.
actions that they're taking. It's almost as if not only do we have a rogue nation, we've got even rogue special forces that are doing stuff in other countries, doing stuff here in our country. How deep does
Mhm.
it go? I don't I'm I would love to find out. I don't know that
Mhm.
how we'll ever find out. But I just want to say that's sometimes doesn't get mentioned enough is, quite frankly, Palestine is freeing us as well.
Mhm.
Like, we need to free Palestine, but what is happening to them is just it's something of a test ground so they can see what they can do to other people, what they can get
Mhm.
away with. What they're going to do over there. They're implementing those same AI systems, the same kind of teaching of the police and the brutality. It's all here. It's coming here, if it's not here already.
Yeah.
So if the Palestinian cause, if their plight is not important to you, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot,
Mhm.
because I mean, we're not, yeah. Again, I'm not trying, I don't want to be like mean or anything, but they don't like us.
Mhm. Well,
And I'm not
yeah.
talking about Arabs. I'm
Mhm.
talking about Israel.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
only like us for our money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're arming and funding them, and creating more people that hate America because we're arming and funding them. And I really think if we take a look at the contributions that APAC has on our politicians, and how money in politics is really silencing some people that you would otherwise think would not be okay with babies getting sniped in the head and all of those awful things that are happening. And I mean, I'm looking at a lot of the Democratic leaders, Akeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, all of them, who you would think that they wouldn't be okay with genocide and things like that, but the power that money has. And I mentioned it
Right.
earlier, APAC Tracker does a really good job of that. And I think
Yes.
people are this genocide has really opened up the eyes to people about how money can influence otherwise people that you would think would be good. But just shows that they're more concerned about their donors than they are actual human rights. And so hopefully in future elections, we will be, yeah, exactly. Hopefully future elections will demand that our leaders aren't bought and paid for. And I think that could be a huge asset to getting America's reputation, better, where we're not actually doing these things, where we're actually nominating people to office who are actually concerned with human rights and can't just be bought off.
Exactly. We need to get money out of politics. We need to stop these lobbies. And at the very least, this lobby, APAC and Kufi and J Street, in my opinion, and the ilk of them should all be registering under FARA, the foreign
Hmm.
agents. Like,
Yeah.
they are foreign agents. They should not be given free roam in this country, and we should know what they are up to and what they are lobbying for.
Mhm.
Because if you're putting Israel first, you're not putting us first.
They get
Point
an
blank,
APAC
period, end of.
babysitter if they the Congress people, you have somebody that will call him.
Right.
And Akeem was laughing that he was on the phone with that guy all the time, all the time. It's
Like,
wild.
that's not funny. Oh my god, that pisses me
Mhm.
off.
And that's why he's not endorsing Zoran. It's really sad.
Very telling. And the
Mhm.
amount of money that that lobby is going to put into, candidates to oust
Mhm.
him. I mean, they're still trying to support um Cuomo.
Mhm. They got Cori
And
Bush voted out, which is terrible.
oh
Yeah.
my god, that was
Yeah.
the worst thing ever.
Mhm.
That was really bad. We need
Yeah.
Bush. We needed him. Okay, you guys. This was
Yeah.
fantastic. I love this. Thank you so much for
Yeah. Thank you,
having
guys.
this conversation with me and going through all of that data will pick up on page 20, whatever the hell it was. And it might take another 2 hours to get through it, but I think we'll be able to get through the rest of it. And the end of it is really the most important part, because that's where we're going to see the messaging that we need to be looking for. How stuff is going to be propagandized to us.
Definitely.
So, Mikey, please, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? And if you have anything coming up other than the fact that we're going to do another collab.
Yeah. So, definitely check out the description below, and that will show you my link tree. I'm on X. I recently went on TikTok a couple weeks ago, and yesterday I think I started an Instagram. But YouTube is mainly where I'm doing stuff, and then X is usually where I'm, testing my ideas, making sure that, if I'm going to go out there and advocate for something, that my ideas, when they're challenged, that I could actually, defend them. And so I like cooking people on X. I know it's a cesspool out there, but yeah. And so, the videos that I've been doing, basically, go against the Trump administration. I'm also going after corporations that ruin the lives of Americans, like credit card companies, and then the celebrities that are profiting off that. I've been kind of doing that because I think it's, when you see all of one of my buddies is an actor, and he used to do commercials, and he hasn't been getting any gigs because mostly they're just hiring celebrities now. And so, so I try to go after those capitalist scumfucks as well. So yeah, definitely, I would love if you guys watch my videos, and then if you like it, subscribe. I don't want any sympathy subscriptions, but I'd love you guys to join the fight, so that way we could raise a fist against these motherfuckers.
Absolutely. Please go follow Mikey. I will have you back here next. Again, we'll talk about it. We'll figure out if it'll be this week or next week, but absolutely love to have you on, and maybe even do some more discussions on Gaza, Palestine, or something else entirely, what have you. The links are, I just put them in the chat room, guys, if you want to look at the messaging, the survey. And also here, I put the Track APAC tracker. I'm going to pop that in there as well. So if you want to take a look at the candidates who are, getting paid from Israel.
Yeah, they do. They do a great job. They'll take a comment that somebody posts on X and is very, favorable towards Israel, and then they'll post how much that person is getting paid by APAC, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yes, we gotta pay attention. Okay, love you guys. Yeah, thank you so much for coming, Mikey, and thank you to John, to Dan, to AJ. I saw.
What's up, AJ?
PC was here. Yeah, but there are so many people here, and I appreciate seeing you guys. You are Victoria, Wave of Mutilation, Bree from Hive Site. Okay, now I'm done.
Yeah.
Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow morning on the Atheist Morning Show. And Mikey, I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye.
It'll